This is one of the most beautiful regions on the Korean peninsula. Korea often calls itself the land of morning calm, and looking at the landscape here in the Kumgang region, it's not difficult to see why. It's also not difficult to understand why tourists, both foreign and domestic, flock to Mount Kumgang to enjoy the coastal waters of the East Sea and marvel at the stunning rocky outcrops which burst through the ground to create one of the most stunning natural wonders in Korea. The region is known by most as Kumgangsan, or the Diamond Mountain. However, it's known by other names, depending on the season. During spring, when flowers are in full bloom and the mountains are cloaked in crisp, clear air, they're known as Kumgangsan. During summer, when the slopes are laden with green grasses and plants, and the low clouds drift silently around the peaks, the area is known as Pongnaesan, referencing the legends of spirits inhabiting the area. As autumn draws in, the area is known as Pungaksan, or the Mountain of Coloured Leaves, as the bright green flora turns orange and red. And during winter, they take the name Stone Bone Mountain, or Gaegolsan, as thick snow coats the mountainous peaks. However, they are most commonly and collectively referred to as Kumgangsan. Kumgangsan is a vast region in Kangwon Province on the southeastern side of the DPRK, and as such, it's difficult to say for certain what to expect on a tour here. Generally, a trip to Mount Kumgang will include plenty of hiking and enjoying the outdoor scenery. But here are some highlights you might expect to hit upon during your visit. But first, I want to quickly tell you about the sponsor of this video. Until now, despite having been offered them, I haven't agreed to any video sponsorships. But Surfshark VPN is actually a tool I genuinely use, both in everyday life, but also specifically in producing these videos. As I type this, I am in Ulaanbaatar, Mongolia. Last week I was in Korea, and the week before that down in New Zealand. Since I started this channel, I've worked on projects whilst in Korea, China, Mongolia, Germany, the UK, New Zealand, all over the place. Using Surfshark VPN, I could get my research done whether I was on a train between Beijing and Dandong, in a Mongolian ger out on the steppe, or waiting for a connection at a German airport. Routing my connection through different servers meant I could avoid blocked websites or region-locked content. So, if you're researching the finer points of Korean culture, or just want to watch Netflix on holiday, click the link in the description or use code DPRK explained at checkout for 83% off your subscription and 3 months extra for free. Now, where were we? Departing the city of Wonsan on the east coast, we'll head south along the 108km long road that links the city with the heart of the Kumgang region. En route, we'll pass by the picturesque Lake Sijong, before possibly getting a rare chance to visit Cheongsokjeong, a 1km long system of hexagonal basalt columns along the coastline. The 4 most prominent of these are named Sason, and legend has it that 4 spirits play atop them. Finally, we'll arrive at the Kumgangsan Hotel in Outer Kumgang. Opened in 1958, the hotel is one of the oldest not just in the region, but in the country, and is the perfect base for an adventure in Kumgang. Some of the most stunning sights in Kumgangsan are in Outer Kumgang. The region is divided into 3 sections. Sea Kumgang is here, incorporating the coastal regions. Outer Kumgang covers this area and includes most of the lower lying areas. And Inner Kumgang is the moniker given to the highest mountains and steepest valleys located further inland. There's so much to see in Outer Kumgang but here are the highlights. 10 kilometers away from the Kumgangsan Hotel sits a stunning array of natural rocky outcrops, known by Koreans as Manmulsan. There are dozens of rock formations strewn around this area, so I won't go into detail about all of them, but some of Manmulsang's highlights include the Mansang Pavilion. Guarding the gateway to the region, it's situated near a natural spring and sits 600 meters above sea level. The Manjang Spring is famed for its legendary water. Local mythology purports that the water from the spring has fountain of youth-like qualities. The story goes that a local couple in their 60s trekked high into the mountains of Kumgangsan, drank the water, and recovered the looks they had from the day they were married. The region makes for a breathtaking hiking opportunity, and many of the rocks and outcrops come accompanied with similar legends and myths. Just west of the coastline sits a large lake named Samil Lagoon. Considered one of the 8 natural wonders of the eastern region, the lake takes its name from a legend that a king once stopped at the lagoon on a journey, but was so taken by the scenery that he stayed for 3 days. Hence the name Samil, or 3 days, was given to the lake. The Samil Lagoon is 0.79 kilometers squared in area and between 9 and 13 meters deep. In the middle of the lake is Wow Islet. The Tanpung restaurant on the riverbank makes for a handy lunch stop, and its location near the boating lake makes the Samil Lagoon a fantastic stop on a tour around Kumgangsan. The foothills between Outer and Inner Kumgang are home to one of the most well-known and most stunningly beautiful sights that Kumgang has to offer, the Kuryong waterfall. A 12-kilometer drive from the hotel, followed by a 4-kilometer hike into the mountains, will bring you to the Kuryong Valley and its various notable sights. Firstly, you'll reach the Pibong and Mubong Falls. The Pibong waterfall is one of the 4 largest in Kumgangsan and takes its name, Pibong, from its shape, reminiscent of a phoenix tail. Mubong is located further up, looking like a phoenix taking flight, hence the name Mubong. Continuing up the path, you'll reach the Kuryong Falls and the Kuryong Pool. The Kuryong Falls are one of the 3 largest waterfalls in Korea, with a cliff face stretching 100 meters up, with a sheer drop of water of 74 meters into the Kuryong Pool. Continuing further north, you'll reach the Upper Pal Pools, or Upper 8 Pools. As with many places in Korea, there are plenty of legends and myths associated with the area. So let's take a short break to cover one of the fairy tales of Kumgang. One day, a young man was carrying firewood back from the pine forests down the slope of Kumgangsan. Stopping for a rest at the Upper Pal Pools, he encountered a deer running from a hunter. He helped the deer escape the hunter and then returned home. That night, he had a dream. A spirit told him to return to the Upper Pal Pools, and coincidentally, this is where the fairies of Kumgangsan gathered to bathe. The spirit told the young man to go up there and steal one of the fairies' flying gowns so it could not return to the heavens. So, the boy went up and took one of the flying gowns while the fairies were playing. This meant one fairy was unable to return to the sky. The story goes that they later married and had a son and a daughter, and one day the man revealed to his wife that he had stolen her flying gown. She immediately took it back and returned to the heavens with her children. The spirit spoke to the young man in a dream once again, and following the instructions, he returned to the Pal Pools, where he was able to ride up to the heavens to reunite with his wife and children. The story culminates with the family returning to the earth and living the rest of their days in the picturesque surroundings of Inner Kumgang. Hae Kumgang, or Sea Kumgang, is one of the 3 primary regions of Kumgangsan and is located on the coast between Kumgang and the East Sea. Providing the appearance of mountains rising from beneath the water, it is another of the most significant scenic spots on the Korean peninsula. Notable sites include underwater Manmulsan, so named for its resemblance to the aforementioned Manmulsan. A myriad of strange rock formations rise and dip beneath the waves, providing natural lagoons for the schools of fish which dart about in the crystal water of Sea Kumgang. Inner Kumgang is the name given to this region of Kumgangsan. Many of the tallest peaks, deepest valleys, and most stunning natural scenery are locked away in the deep mountains of Inner Kumgang. Whilst there are so many places worth mentioning, a typical trip to Inner Kumgang may follow a path like this. Arriving in Inner Kumgang from the southern side, you'll likely visit the Pyohun Temple. Hidden deep amongst the peaks and valleys of Kumgangsan, the Pyohun Temple was constructed in 670 CE and originally consisted of 20 buildings, although today only a handful of halls and pavilions remain. A classic example of a Korean Buddhist temple, it is one of 4 temples in Kumgang alone, along with Jangang, Singye and Yujom temples. Notably, the Pando Hall and Osil pavilions were purportedly designed to pray for the well-being of the royal family. The Manpok Valley runs through Inner Kumgang and is dotted with various pools and ponds, hence its name, Manpok, meaning 10,000 falls. The area is fantastic for hiking and is favourited by local and foreign tourists as an especially beautiful region of Kumgangsan. Finally, you'll reach Pido Peak at the heart of Inner Kumgang. The highest of the 12,000 peaks of Kumgangsan, Pido is 1,639 metres above sea level, and there are numerous climbing routes. However, perhaps one of the greatest incentives to climb Pido is the Myogil Buddha statue. This statue of a sedentary Buddha is carved into the rock face atop one of the country's highest mountains. Although temples dot Korea as a whole, there's clearly something special about Mount Kumgang, which drew the Buddhist followers of old to establish a significant presence here. And as the sun sets below the horizon of the East Sea, and the majestic mountains are bathed in the light of a burnt orange sky, no doubt you'll understand what truly sets Kumgangsan apart from the rest of Korea. Thanks for watching. I hope you've enjoyed this brief overview of Kumgangsan. Unfortunately, there really isn't time to cover everything there is to do here in one video, but nonetheless, I hope you've learned a little more about the region. If you want to support the videos I'm working on for DPRK Explained, please check out my Patreon linked in the description. If you're interested in travelling to Kumgangsan yourself, why not check out Absolute Nomads, the company I've been working closely with over the last year on DPRK travel and tourism. Once again, thank you for watching, and I'll leave you with some more glorious footage of Kumgangsan.